whole week. Do enjoy the next presentation.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam MC. So we are in the second session of our tech session this morning. The presenter is Mr. Willy Wester from Pleasure Industries, Germany. Mr. Willy Wester is the product manager of Pleasure Industries, which is an international supplier of submersible motor pumps, thrusters, and plunger pumps based in Hamburg, Germany. Mr. Wester has more than 30 years of pump experience with a strong background in both technical and field applications of hydraulic system and pump design. So his presentation is a pre-recorded one. So we can start.
Welcome at Pleasure Industries. Today I want to present you our submersible motor pumps, the technology, the markets and applications. Pleasure Industries is located in Hamburg, North Germany. Hamburg has the second largest container harbor in Europe and is well connected to the North Sea with the river Elbe. Here are some history informations. So it was Mr. Pleugher who founded this company in 1929 in Berlin. After World War II, he moved his factory to Hamburg, so that is where we are located since 1951. After this, several acquisitions and mergers were happened, and in year 2000, we were acquired by the Flowserve Group, have been a part of them for 18 years. Since August 2018, we are independent and running as Pleasure Industries. Since this time, we have expanded our sales offices to USA, Russia, and Singapore. And meanwhile, we have a lot of partners and distributors for sales and service globally. One of them is Pump Power here in Australia. So today we are one of the largest independent manufacturer of submersible motor pumps. Here we have an overview about the range of submersible motor pumps which are inside our product portfolio. Let's start with the submersible motor. On this picture here, you see that the motor is normally located below this multi-stage pump, which is the hydraulic part. So the submersible motors are available from 6-inch up to 50 inches in diameter. These are asynchronous motor, available from 2 to 3,500 kilowatt. And we have also the design capability to supply 5 megawatt motors. Our motors normally operating between 200 to 6,600 voltage. Our motor sizes starts at 6-inch, and then we have, of course, the other sizes here, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 19, 22, 26, 30, 50, 40, 50 inches. And here a short comment to this: it is really unique in the market that a manufacturer of submersible motors has really the expertise in engineering and manufacturing such a huge range of motors, and this is very typical for Pleugher. Beside to this asynchronous motors, we have also, since approximately 5 years, a range of synchronous motors available. These are permanent magnet motors available in 6 and 8-inch size up to 200 kilowatt. The big advantage of such permanent magnet motors is the high motor efficiency. Later on, I have a separate slide for this as well. So then let's have a look on the submersible pumps. So these are the hydraulic part, and they are available from 6-inch up to 36-inch in diameter. And for flow rates from 2 to 4,000 cubic meter per hour for 50 cycles, and for 60 cycles it goes up to 20,000 US gallon per minute. These hydraulics are available up to 800 meter total differential head, available in different designs in view to the impeller, if we are talking about radial, half axial, or axial impellers. Here you see the design variations which are available for submersible motor pumps in general. Let's start here at first with this deep well pump design, which are middle intake design solutions. I would say in 90% of all applications in general for submersible motor pumps, it looks like this. So here we have this submersible motor, which is located below this multi-stage pump. Finally, we have adapted here a non-return valve. So, and this pumping fluid, which is here shown in this light blue color, does enter this system here in the middle between the motor and the pump, therefore it's called middle intake. Yeah. On the other side, we have this so-called bottom intake design, where it looks the other way around. Here we have this multi-stage pump, which is located below the motor, and the motor itself is also inside a so-called bypass shroud. The big advantage for such a bottom intake design is you can really decrease the minimum water level to a very low water level. For example, when you want to empty a pump station or a tank to a very low level, or you want to take out water from a river which has a very low water depth, then it makes sense to think about to use bottom intake design pumps. This page shows how a Pleuger submersible motor looks like. On the left side, you see a sectional drawing, and there are a lot of components listed. First of all, here we have this breather diaphragm. This part ensures that we have always the same pressure outside to the inner side of the motor, because it is a very flexible part. So all our motors are pressure and volume compensated. Here we have this thrust bearing, which have to cover all these axial forces coming from the riser pipe or from the pump. Here we have the lower radial bearings and the upper radial bearings. And this is the stator, which is wounded with these winding wires. In this area, we have the connection of the power cable to the winding wires. On top here, this is the mechanical seal, as standard made from silicon carbide. And finally, here we have this power cable. All Pleuger motors from 10-inch and larger have an internal cooling circuit. So that means we have an additional impeller inside. With this cooling circuit, we ensure that we have everywhere inside this motor the same temperature. So that is an additional reason why Pleuger motors have such a long lifetime. Very important to mention is also the design here of this thrust bearing, which has been developed by Pleuger Industries themselves, because we met a very high load capacity up to 300 kilonewton, means 30 tons. That is very important to increase the lifetime of such a submersible motor, as it is a very core element. Also, you see the rotor is highlighted in yellow. That is also a special solution Pleuger is able to do, means this rotor gets an additional VPI or vacuum pressure impregnation process, and based on this technology we can increase the stiffness of this rotor shaft drastically, which helps us to avoid that the rotor will bend during operation, so we do not have any negative effects on the radial bearings on the upper and lower end, and also on the axial bearing. So you see this yellow highlighted major features here, like thrust bearing, rotor handled by VPI process, and this knowledge how to create this internal cooling circuit. These are really several reasons what makes Pleuger technology outstanding compared to what the competition is able to do. So all our motors are rewindable and, as mentioned, water filled. The winding wires have different insulations, depends on the application, if it's cold water or hot water. So we have several solutions for this. The motor filling is normally a mixture of 65% water plus 35% glycol, but we have also the opportunity to fill this motor 100% with potable water or pure glycol. That is what we are doing with hot water motors. Or if it is really required, we can also fill this motor with oil. The motor filling in general is responsible for cooling and lubrication of all moving parts, and glycol plus additives prevent corrosion and serve as antifreeze solution. Beside to the asynchronous motor, we are also able, I mentioned it already earlier, to supply so-called permanent magnet motors. With this technology, we met really a significant increase of motor efficiency and power output. It has been designed to minimize life cycle costs for complete pump installations. Very often, 90% based already on the energy costs, so it makes really sense to think about using this technology. These motors are available from 4 to 200 kilowatt, and here we have a motor efficiency up to 94%. The design based on the reliable Pleuger asynchronous or induction motor. And these motors are also rewindable. As they are synchronous motor, they have to be operate via VFDs, and Pleuger is also able to supply a complete system of pump, motor and VFDs, but you are also able to get the VFDs directly at your site. At least these VFDs should be able to operate synchronous motors. The permanent magnet motors are normally used for groundwater development, such as water supply and distribution, irrigation, dewatering process and cooling water application, and booster pumps. So everywhere where you have at least, let's say, 4,000 hours per year operation time, and you want to save energy costs, then it makes sense to think about such technology. Let's have a look now on the hydraulic part of a submersible motor pump. So it is shown here in horizontal position. Normally you would see here, it's not shown, this submersible motor where the motor shaft end is fixed inside this coupling, which is located in this suction housing covered by a suction strainer, which avoid that any big stones or particle will enter this system to avoid any disturbing or blocking of impellers. So the coupling is connected to a pump shaft. Onto the pump shaft, the impellers are fixed by keys, and the shaft is fixed by radial bearings to the pump bowls. The pump bowls are fixed by each other by a flange connection. So that is as a Pleuger submersible pump end looks like. So it is really a service-friendly and a durable industrial design solution, because the impeller, as mentioned, are always fixed by keys onto the pump shaft. Very often you see in the market that they fix the impeller by conus on the pump shaft. This is a very cheap, costly-wise, cheap design solution, but absolutely not service-friendly. The same with the pump bowls. Very often you see in the market that the pump bowls are connected by screw connection together. Here we are using a service-friendly flange connection. And finally, very important to mention is that our pump bowls and impellers made from casting material and not as what you see very often in the market by using metal sheet. A metal sheet solution is not an industrial solution, only possible to use for buildings for very clean water. This is absolutely not our philosophy. We want to provide long lifetime running products. So therefore, we strongly recommend to use casting material. And because of the casting or investment casting solution, especially for stainless steel, you can also meet very high pump efficiency, which is not possible by using metal sheet design. Pleuger submersible motor pumps offers a lot of options for installation. For example, in vertical installation for deep well pump application, or in parallel operation for pumping station. You can also use Pleuger submersibles in horizontal installation and also running as a booster pump installed inside pipelines for water transmission. In this way, this submersible pump is installed inside an additional booster shroud. But beside to vertical and horizontal, you can also install a Pleuger submersible pump in incline operation, for example, to take out water from a river for any process water application. Let's have a look now on the markets and applications we are able to serve with our submersible products. Here we have the oil and gas market, where our submersibles are installed on offshore platforms or on special vessels called FPSO, floating production, storage and offloading. In this application, normally our pumps are running as seawater lift pumps for different process or service applications, or also on onshore application inside underground cavern storage, where our products also handle crude oil or liquid gas. Then we have this general industry market, including the open pit mining, where our pumps used for dewatering. Then we have this process water solutions, and also our pumps are used for a desalination process. Next market, very important for us, is the water market here, where our pumps used for municipal water supply, like water transmission, distribution, irrigation, deep well pumps, bore well pumps, and as mentioned earlier, you can use also submersibles for booster pumps here inside pipelines, water transmission, and we have also solutions where our submersibles operating as flute protection pumps. Then we have the power market here, where our pumps are used for conventional and renewable energy applications, for example, offshore wind parks, very famous meanwhile in the North Sea area. And as mentioned earlier, we have the option to supply product for the lower geothermal power market, as we have our hot water motors. For the water market, we normally use the range between 6-inch to 10 or also 12-inch sizes for pump and motors. We know that Pleuger design is known for robust design, and here we have a strong competition in this standard ranges, because often customers accept this costly-wise cheap metal sheet design solution, what we, to be honest, not recommend to use for industrial application. But on the other side, we have a big advantage, as more and more, especially in the water market, energy saving requirements are coming up. Therefore, we have developed this high efficient permanent magnet motor, and now we have also a new range of pump hydraulics available, which have a very high pump efficiency, so we can offer now a very high efficient energy saving solution pump design. Parallel to this, we have also different drinking water certifications available, ACS for France or NSF 61 for North America. Also product safety certificates available, like CSA for Canada and North America. And as mentioned earlier, we have also the opportunity to provide different kind of material solution. Normally for water application, we supply cast iron design, but also we can switch over to stainless steel 316 or also super duplex stainless steel, but this is normally more for offshore application required. Here we have two references for bore well pumps for municipal water supply application. Here in Jordan, we supplied 55 submersibles for the DC water conveyance project. And in Libya, we supplied 400 submersibles for the Great Man-Made River project. For water transmission and distribution via pipelines, you also can use Pleuger submersibles running as a booster pump. In this case, the submersible motor pump is installed inside a pressure shroud, so this complete system will be placed in a pipeline. This technology ensures a very space-saving solution and a very low noise solution instead of using conventional circulating pump running with a dry running motor. Pleuger booster pumps are available for outlet pressure up to 250 bar and pump differential pressure up to 70 bar. This is just a picture how a Pleuger booster pump looks like. So you see here we have our submersible motor. In this case, it is directly connected to an axial hydraulic pump and also available in our product portfolio. And these are fixed inside this booster shroud. So finally, you have a booster pump which can be installed inside a pipeline. Pleuger Industries is also able to supply flute pumps. These are normally a combination of Pleuger submersible motor directly coupled to an axial pump. In this case, we can go up to 20,000 cubic meter per hour, and normally you need only a certain total differential height, let's say 10 meters, and such pump solutions often running as flute protection pumps or to keep complete areas dry. And here, this is a typical pumping station with horizontal Pleuger flute pump units.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the presentation from Pleuger Industries. We thank Mr. Willie Wester for his presentation. It's a recorded presentation, so there will not be a live Q&A session. Please send your questions to us and we arrange them to be answered. The next presentation will be from Dr. Teo Yet Han from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, titled Journey to Sustainable Water Management. It will start at 12 o'clock, which we have a short break.